Food processing facility sanitation is an integral part of good manufacturing practices. Effective sanitation aids in ensuring the wholesomeness, safety, and quality of shell eggs. The negative impacts on food safety and egg quality are a result of microbial growth. Research has shown that ineffective cleaning and sanitation practices or programs can lead to reduced quality duration or potential product contamination. Residual microorganisms can lead to egg spoilage or foodborne illness. Most of this training series will focus on the United States Department of Agriculture Agricultural Marketing Service pre-operational sanitation inspection expectations. However, remember that the Food and Drug Administration has oversight of consumer shell eggs in the United States as stated in 21 CFR 117. Additionally, customers, accrediting organizations, such as Safe Quality Food, British Retail Consortium Global Standard, and others, as well as state and local regulatory agencies, may have additional facility sanitation expectations that can impact your facility. AMS sanitation requirements are meant to protect the integrity of the USDA grade mark by requiring additional sanitation expectations at facilities that utilize AMS voluntary grading services. To meet these goals, AMS inspectors will assess for voluntary grading program requirements during the pre-operational sanitation inspection and throughout processing operations by utilizing organoleptic inspection assessments. While AMS may review microbial test results as part of certain export programs, AMS does not conduct nor require swabbing or biological testing during routine sanitation assessments. So what is organoleptic inspection? Organoleptic inspection assessments include sight, smell, and touch. However, microbial growth will not always be seen, smelled, or felt. Critical areas are defined as equipment with potential surface contact with eggs or come in contact with wash water or air blown to dry the eggs. Non-critical areas are defined as areas that are not likely to imminently affect product quality. Non-critical does not mean it is not important. Non-critical unsatisfactory conditions should be addressed after the processing line has been started, unless unable to safely do so during processing.
Before shell egg packers can use AMS voluntary shell egg grading services, a formal facility review must be conducted and approved. This review ensures that a building must be constructed in a sound and sanitary manner that is readily cleanable. For a full list of AMS plant survey requirements, contact the local AMS supervisor. In this module, egg coolers will be discussed. On the USDA Sanitation Report, egg coolers are critical, whether storing nest-run or processed eggs. Unsatisfactory findings in coolers may not prevent processing from beginning, but impacted cooler areas may not be used until findings are corrected. Cooler types and numbers will vary between facilities. Some coolers could be used to store specific egg types. These eggs are nest-run, processed, restricted or inedible, and egg products. AMS sanitation standards apply to all coolers on premise, regardless of use. In this module, various components of the cooler will be discussed and the pre-operational sanitation expectations described. Components will include condensers or cooling units, ceilings, walls, and floors, designated cooler areas, loading docks. Condensers and cooling units located inside the cooler are assessed during pre-operational sanitation inspection. Since the units distribute air throughout the entire space where eggs are located, it is essential they be maintained in a functional and clean manner. Water from condensation or defrost cycles may inadvertently drip onto eggs or egg packaging when these units malfunction. This is a major contamination concern and would be an unsatisfactory finding. The condensers and cooling units must also be clean. Dust is a common concern, and the cool, damp environment of the cooler can lead to mold and mildew growth. Attention should be paid to the external casing, as well as grates or grids, drip lines, and any mounting hardware. If these components cannot easily be observed from the floor, the AMS supervisor should work with management to develop an acceptable alternative method of assessment. This is a view of the front and back side of a cooling unit. This cooling unit looks to be satisfactorily clean, showing no visible dust or condensation. This is a satisfactory finding in a critical area. Here is another shot of a cooling unit that has been in operation for some time. The exterior panels show signs of discoloration, but show no signs of dust or condensation. This is a satisfactory finding in a critical area. Regular cleaning is necessary to prevent the buildup of dust and corresponding mold and mildew growth. These are the most common deficiencies found on cooler ceilings, walls, and floors. Ceilings and walls in the egg cooler are often prone to condensation, especially near panel seams. This condensation can promote mold and mildew growth and become a major product contamination concern. The ceiling can be easily overlooked depending on the height of the egg cooler, but it is important to assess all surfaces for unsanitary conditions. Cooler walls and floors are also prone to accumulation of egg meat when eggs are inadvertently broken in the area. The presence of egg meat in the cooler is an unsatisfactory finding and should be cleaned immediately. All floors should be thoroughly cleaned of egg meat, trash, and other debris. Egg meat that is not effectively cleaned has the potential to be spread throughout the facility by the wheels of pallet jacks and forklifts, as well as footwear of employees. Floors that are stained or discolored are not considered to be unsatisfactory unless there is additional adhering material. Aside from the cleanliness of the walls, ceilings, and floors, the interior perimeter of the cooler should be kept clear to allow line of sight for assessment. Debris from sweeping the floors may sometimes be pushed into the perimeters of the coolers, and areas that are more difficult to view may accumulate dust and debris. Perimeter assessments in the cooler area are often where evidence of standing water and rodents may be found, such as droppings or nesting material. This is an example of condensation forming on the ceiling of a cooler, likely due to ambient humidity or temperature differentials between the cooler and the exterior of the facility. While the cause of the condensation is a maintenance issue, the routine cleaning of the surface is a sanitation concern. If not addressed, this condition will lead to microbial growth or could drip directly onto finished product. This is an unsatisfactory finding in a critical area and must be addressed before this area of the cooler may be used. Here is another example of condensation, this time on the framework of the door leading out of the cooler. This area is likely to drip on any product passing in or out of the cooler, significantly increasing the likelihood of contamination. This condensation is an unsatisfactory finding in a critical area and must be addressed before the cooler is used for the day. Small spots of water are often found on cooler floors, either from minor drips from condensers or from slight surface condensation. These small areas of water are not a sanitation concern by themselves, unless otherwise soiled with egg meat or debris, or unless the drip occurs on top of product. This is a satisfactory finding in a critical area. This image shows a larger pool of water with obvious splash marks from an overhead drip. This area likely still has condensation or a malfunctioning drip line overhead and needs to be addressed. This is an unsatisfactory finding in a critical area and must be addressed before product may be stored in this area. This is an egregious example of a dirty cooler ceiling. Long-term neglect has led to significant deposits of grime across the ceiling panels, structural beams, and speaker system. This is an unsatisfactory finding in a critical area and must be addressed before this area of the cooler may be used. Facilities will often designate a cooler or subsections of coolers for product that has been damaged, is restricted, is under USDA hold, or deemed inedible. Areas where this product is stored or reworked, whether in the corner or another location in the facility, can become excessively soiled with egg meat, packaging, and debris. All areas of the cooler should be clean and orderly. The exterior of inedible containers and the surrounding area must be maintained in a clean manner, free of egg meat, mold, mildew, and debris. While the surrounding floors appear to be satisfactorily cleaned, these inedible barrels have significant buildup of egg meat on the outside of the barrels. Care should be taken when filling or transporting these barrels to prevent this kind of buildup from occurring. This is an unsatisfactory finding in a non-critical area. Since the unsatisfactory condition is limited to the barrel, the area is not necessarily restricted for use. These inedible barrels are also built up with trash, egg meat, and shells, which have also spilled onto the pallet they are stored on. Since the sanitation problem has spread outside of the barrels themselves, this is an unsatisfactory finding in a critical area and must be addressed before this designated area may be used. This area of the cooler has been designated as a rework area for damaged product. The damaged product is contained to the pallets, is not exuding contents onto the pallet or floor, and is not located adjacent to finished product. This is a satisfactory finding in a critical area. While the exterior of these inedible barrels appear to be satisfactorily cleaned, there is still a high risk of contamination if the contents inadvertently spill or leak from the barrels. Inedible egg products should not be stored in close proximity to finished products. As shown here, barrels should be moved to a designated area with enough space from finished product to prevent potential contamination. Loading docks are the final point of contact for finished products and the first point of contact for packing and packaging materials or incoming eggs to be processed. Docks will commonly consist of a roll-up door with flaps or skirts, an adjustable ramp, and recessed portions of the floors or walls to accommodate equipment. Doors are required to be tightly fitted, allowing no space for rodents or pests to enter. Dust, debris, and flies are the most common sanitation problems found around docks. Here is an example of a clean and organized series of dock doors. The doors are tight-fitting, the floors are well kept, and the surrounding area is clean and free of debris. This is a satisfactory finding in a critical area. There are many styles and configuration for egg coolers. It is important to familiarize yourself with each egg processing facility you encounter to ensure the egg coolers are effectively evaluated before processing begins each day.